Vince is awake. Your day has started.
It's a morning wake-up call, yeah.
Hi.
The gorgeous voice to wake up with.
Hi,
Good
Dawson.
morning. Hi, Dawson. How are you? He's the baby of the foundation. Another one.
Good.
Do you want to change over to health? Good morning.
Vince is working on that, Mr. Kesh, and should have it up here any minute. Ready to go on health?
Do you want to let him to start?
You can start it.
I think Rick is after your job.
Okay, I think we are live on the health workshop. So Rick, if you wanted to start, I'll mute so I can talk to my son. Thank you.
Okay, this is the beginning of the 30th health teaching workshop of the Kesh Foundation Spaceship Institute. And it's Tuesday, May 12th in the afternoon teaching session at the Kesh Foundation Spaceship Institute. And we've segued in from the Chinese workshop, and we're presented with a question here. And I think we're going to continue with Mr. Kesh. The question is whether it will bring damage to our physical body when we produce GANs reactors at home. But let's hear from Mr. Kesh first and see what he's got in store for us for this health teaching. Mr. Kesh, are you there?
If you use the salts or the system which is shown, will it bring damage? Yes, it does, and no, it doesn't. It depends on the strength of your gravitational magnetic field and the condition and position you put and you use it. We are not advising anybody to use it, but on the other hand, as we usually say, we have scientists around the world who understand the language used, so we are talking on the scientific level. It shows that the material, if it's used in this state, if you understand it, would it cause the fields which are too large? The fields are not too large because your body only takes what it needs at the time of need. But because you have conditioned the magnet inside this system, you will create effect and condition on your red blood cells. Because read what you put down, understand what you do, and not just to do it because you're blind to physicality. Read your own writing. The picture below shows my GANs kit. I used nano-coated ferrite magnet. No, go back. That word is very important. If you go back to the health teachings and the other teachings of the Institute in the past few days, if you've been online as a knowledge seeker, and if you've been in other parts of the teachings of the health workshops, we always said that the interaction of the iron with the amino acid in the presence of CH sugar and NaCl salt leads to creation of the red blood cells. So now you have iron, and it means you have put limitation and direction in the position of iron in your red blood cells. Then if the other composition in your blood, be it zinc, be it calcium or whatever, are affected by this, would you become a candidate for leukemia? Possible. If it will help you out of, if you have a leukemia cancer, yes, possible. It depends on the structure of what you have, what you put in, and what are the limitations. Blind testing will cause you havoc. This is why, if you listen in the condition of our teaching in the Chinese later on, materials dictate conditions, and conditions create emotional effect, and at the same time they create physical effect. And in time, as we said, we are developing technologies which can interact emotionally and physically. Here you have got a gans of the matter, which in the dynamic of what to you is not visible, creates a motion of the field which is non-matter dependent. So if you touch and you're in the wrong state of emotion with a magnet which is based on your what do you call it, on your CO2 in your box, then you touch the emotion of your physicality, and God forbid, if you hate your son and you're testing, report yourself for prostate cancer. Because now you touch the blood in the emotion. The word you have put in there has given it a condition, which is ferrite. Means you deal with the emotion, you deal with blood. Then read the next word you put in there. The picture below shows my GANS kit. I used a nano-coated ferrite magnet and copper plate. So now read and come back to the teachings we've done in the past. Copper is a neurosystem to muscles. So now you condition the emotion plus to the physicality of the muscles. Would you like to have a prostate cancer, or would you like a cancer in another tissue which carries red flash muscles? Because the body of a man, when you look, when you touch, you only get muscles with the neurosystem connections, with a copper conductivity as the prime condition in certain organs. Then you become candidate for emotional disease, psychosomatic to the physicality, and what would you like? Very, very simple. Go to the shop tomorrow, spend 50 euro, 100 euro, buy yourself a lamb, a full lamb. A full lamb. You know the lamb? Yeah, a lamb. Sheep. Not the one you sail, the one you eat. Open it. Open the structure. Look at the tissue. Feel the tissues of every organ. Then you see a copy of your own body. Test muscle of intestine. Test the one you don't like, the testicles. Because test the heart. See what carries red muscle, what carries white muscle. Then you know what affects which part of your body. Open the brain and look at the structure of the brain. A lot of people speak about Da Vinci, but have to understand what Da Vinci did. Da Vinci went and literally bought animals. He got carcasses of human beings. He didn't draw the picture. He understood the structure of the entity. That's why Da Vinci became so good at it. And then it got memorized by it. By a muscle, open the muscle of the leg, and then open the muscle of the shoulder. Then feel, understand the behavior of the muscle of the shoulder, what it's supposed to do, and then Feel the muscles of the leg of the lamb and then understand what it is, why it's got that texture. Use the muscle of the heart or the whole intestine. You don't see red tissue in the intestine. It's white. It's cream, yellowish, bluish, all colors because it transfers different energy across it. It receives a mono food and it has to translate the mono food into energy of the gans, across it into the lymph of the animal to be converted later on with the blood. So understand structure. I've done this for a long time. I stick detectors into the muscles to see what field they radiate. The technology of the plasma has to be understood in the plasma state. So when you created the gans of copper and then you stuck in the, what do you call it, the iron, now you create a condition of plasma which can affect the blood and the red muscle tissue copper. Where would you like the cancer? Are you happy with it? No, he's shaking his head. You produce CO2s. So now this is the reason even when we met with the member of the core of the Keshe Foundation or Institute here in the Cincinnati, I explained to them why they were chosen as the members of the core. Because all of them, without fail, have made reactors, they understood the process of gans, they are both understand the physicality and the emotion of man. And then if you understood, you know how to affect it and how to change it. As we said, now we walk through the soul of the man and the emotion of the man, then it's easy to affect the physicality. So you change two things. You are touching through blood, which is created out of the interaction of the iron, and then you are positioning with the copper. This is a very good process for a psychosomatic diseases if you get it wrong. And the worst of all is you are creating with it the condition of the salt. And if you understand this, you understand how you get blood pressure in your vessels. Because with the iron, you touch the emotion. With the copper, you created havoc in the muscle tissue. Now, the process creates salt, which is the sodium based. And then, what do you get in the body? High blood pressure. You change the emotion. Voila. If you would have used a different process and the sugar, you would have had a beautiful fatty thing on the top. Then in your body you call it cholesterol. Cholesterol. Oh, God forbid. Now you know what you do to yourself. You get all sorts of problems. Translation is free by the Institute, by the way. We have our Italian group here sitting getting translated live. A couple of them have turned up today. So what happens is that when you put the materials and then you show it like this, and then you ask the most stupid question whether it brings damage to our physical body, when we produce GANS reactors at home, e.g. the field is too large, is not too large, is the condition which you have created in the above box makes it dangerous. So just don't go nilly-willy and to punish the foundation, drink as much cans of CO2 as you like. understand how you produce the GANs, what was involved in producing it, what magnetic field created the condition of the GANs, and then you understand if it's good or bad and what it does. The health teaching of the Keshe Foundation is for the man in a space if the man understands the totality, not for the ones who are cowboys. They think they can do to make ridicule of themselves and the foundation. Can do whatever you like. Poison is cheap. It's for you to use a small dosage of it to save your life or use too much of it to kill yourself. The food, the Keshe Foundation, the structure of the GANs, the systems we show is for development of the knowledge for the future, for man in a space, that if you're the last man standing in a spaceship, you still can produce food, you still can stay alive, and if you are even a man, can change the condition of your body to be able to produce offsprings that you're not the last man standing. Good morning. Oh. So, if you're a woman, you can hormonize your body to produce offsprings without a man. And unlucky for you if you thought you're the gift to God as being a woman, if men had a little bit of intelligence, they can change their own condition with the GANs available to them to create and produce offsprings. Maybe better than women. Because don't forget, men are kind, men are forgiving, and men are generous. That's the attributes of the God. So, do you want to take that picture or that thing up? So, oh, I should stand there. Always stand here. I can't sit down because I've had a physiotherapy yesterday. It hurts. I prefer to stand up. So, what it matters to you is to understand the structure. And in the structure is created by you creating conditions. So, the picture is not very good. They see half of me. I have to go that way, or I have to go that way. We move camera, yes, we are very good in moving everything. If we get a chance, we move Earth too. Okay. Okay. At least it's a bit lopsided. Our German friends won't like it because it has to be perfect, but we are in Italy. Everything will do. Okay. Is that okay? So, understand the creation of the condition. You have changed the condition. You have dictated the position with a magnet. Excuse me, it's too loud, the Italian delegation. Slow down a bit. So, it is, and it has to be understood. You write the word, when you write things like this to us or to yourself, go and read what the emotion has allowed your physicality to write, and then you get the warning lights flashing everywhere. A lot of people think that they just write because they're written. Read what information which is written is carried by emotion through your physicality. And understand the science of the knowledge of the plasma technology in full. In nano, and then you have a copper in nano, which means they are in a GANs state, which means it's in a GANs state. So immediately you are in the environment of the structure of the physicality of the man. Whatever you do with this is going to affect you. Because now you have changed the state of matter into a state of a plasma. You connected it together, you call it a nano layer. You separated it, now is a plasma. Does not matter what you've done. Copper, iron, zinc, whatever it is. A lot of you have not even understood how you created it. You used a nano coat of copper. To make CO2, what did you use? Zinc plate, correct? You have put it in the container of the salt, plus the water. The material has given you the CO2. Zinc, if you've been on the teachings of the SSI, affects the emotion. The copper affects the physicality. The water creates the condition of survival, of lubrication, separation of the elements, which in fact the interaction creates a gravitational magnetic field of the total nature of the existence of the materials above the water, which has given you the CO2, which in fact is in conjunction with zinc, gravitational magnetic field, the color of your brain. In all processes you worked, you have not produced pure CO2. You have produced some zinc oxide too. And in the process of evolution on the planet Earth, it has led to the brain of the man, which uses the zinc and the carbon in conjunction with the oxygen as a central gravitational point for a fast communication without the need for blood. That's why you have no blood vessels in your brain, but you're emotionally active. Now you understand. So, if and when you have created the CO2 and the copper oxide to get the CO2 from it, God help you, how you're going to change the direction of the emotion of your physicality. And then you see, you created salt in the box you showed us. Because it's the gravitational magnetic field of you have put half of the thing back in. So it's giving you what you haven't put back in. The CO2, and then you put the copper, and then you put the amino acid connection for physicality and emotion. So the system, yes, can I help you? What is it? I don't understand. Ah, yes. Come in and sit down. Is your boy with you? Come in and sit down. Where is the bambino? No. No bambino. Okay, sit down. Yeah, sorry about this. I'll explain. Sit down. Do you want to move here? Move here, then bring a chair. I'll explain to you the gentleman who arrived. The two gentlemen arrived just now. Come in. Sit down. He just walked in the right time. This is very important because we explain. You can translate. Move in a way that you can understand. I'll explain to you who this gentleman is. My son, my youngest son, goes to play in a playfield where he brings his son, about age 11. He's 11 years old. The bambino? 11 years old, yeah? Yeah. And what has happened? This is one of the biggest crises in the world at the moment on the banner of immunization. This gentleman has an 11-year-old child, which up to the age of 3 has been perfect. Correct? Translate. His son, up to the age of 3, was normal. Perfect. Your son, up to the age of 3 years old, was normal. 3.5. No, was normal child. Yeah. What happened? At the moment, there is a crisis in the world of medicine. Normal, and after that. Yeah. Now I explained for you to translate to him why I asked him to come here today, because he will understand. What we were just talking about, the effect of material in the emotion, has come to us in the form of immunization. A large number of children, when they get immunized for the 3rd time or the 4th time at the age of 3, by introduction of condition of new material in their physicality by injection, creates invasion and change in the emotional side, and the children become what we call dyslexic, hyperactive, or other conditions. This man is the prime example of it. His child being perfect. In the world of medicine, not understanding what material they inject as a matter in the dynamic plasma of a gans of a body, create havoc that touches the emotion of the child. And the child become attention seeking, wanting confirmation of existence. So when the father is around, he says, Papa, continue to sleep, Papa, 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 I'm here, Papa, I exist. Yeah? Am I correct? Yeah. So what happens is, if we can create a condition to reverse the interaction of the new materials which are injected into the body as immunization, which are addition, then we bring the body of the man to the balance, as we explained this morning in the teaching. So, for us, with the experience we have, we can change the condition of the child in a very simple way. So what do? You reverse the damages of immunization, which has created psychological change in the zinc, by a simple process through the water which the child drinks, and bring him back to normality. The child, in a few months' time, you will not recognize, because You have changed the structure. We have done this a number of times with a great success. So I met this gentleman when my son was playing in the playground and told him to come. I wasn't expecting to teach today. He was supposed to come tomorrow, but now he's coming, he's with us. I said to come 12th or the 13th. Yeah. So it's a random coincidence, he just walked in. So this is exact explanation of what we were talking about. The present immunization, the present chemotherapy is not danger to the man, but some of the components within the structure creates havoc, which in case of chemotherapy touches the physicality, the size of the cell. In immunization system, because the youngness of the age and the fast process of the development touches the zinc and the emotionality. How I know his position and how I know how he feels, because we are, as scientists, aware of the damage of the immunization in combination of 3 M's they put in. Immunization, measles, and others have to be given to a child as separate injections. But somehow economically now it's pushed to be done together, and this pushing after all the children, majority after the age of 2.5, the 3rd year, is so strong that causes psychological damage, what we call hyperactivity, disorder, and what do they call the disease of his son? What do they diagnose him as? Dyslexic? What is his condition? What is the condition? Autistic. Autism. Yeah? The child before the last injection was normal. This happened to my own son. My second son was affected by it. He received the injection within a matter of days. We went through the same process as he goes. It's taken Caroline and I years to reverse it. Now I've developed the technology to be able to handle it. And a guy who is in that condition, and I used to go to the hospital to get the medicine, to go back to be given my child immediately. And what do they give them? Rat poison, Ritalin. So I know as a father how he feels, because I was in his place 20 years ago. In working, understanding now in the state of plasma, my son, who was to be hyperactive and dyslexic and everything else, today is a sharpshooter in the British Army. To be a sharpshooter means you have to be precise. You cannot be any of the things which is there, because we know how to process it. And there is nothing wrong in immunization. It's the way the intensity which is given to the patient, to the child, creates havoc in the emotion. We are not doctors, but we understand the process of the interaction of the gangs within the structure of the material. So what it is for me to change the life of a boy he's gorgeous. When you see his son, he's a beautiful child. Huh? He is very handsome, he's very intelligent, extremely intelligent, but because of the change of the material, he has come to rely for the confirmation of his existence through emotion, which is the zinc. And what he does continuously, he says, Papa, 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 Papa. When he goes to school, attention somewhere else, because the emotional part has been denied and has been moved. And it's very easy. In 3 months, he'll have a total normal child. Because I've been there. Now, you understand how the physicality changes when you take that water and you added metal into it, and then you added another metal into it, and then you worked through a GANs of their production. You affected the emotional part through the blood. You affect the physicality through the copper. And what does his son do? He's continuously moving hands. Because now the information of conformation is to get attention. When he's doing this, you're all watching. What's the hand doing? Translate, what is it?
When breathing, when the child breathes, it's a continuous play.
Play. Yeah, because he wants attention. It's the energy there. Yeah. Because to him, state of sleep and awakeness is no difference. Yeah. So you understand how when you say you put a copper wire in a GANs and you use ferrite, how you dictate the condition of affecting the total structure of the matter. Now, please, if you show these containers or you drink these materials, understand what you drink, how you mix it, and how and what energies and what strength is released. Because the principle is very simple. When the energies are released, they have to go somewhere. Matter does not release that much energy unless it has additional neutrons which can irradiate. In plasma, the fields as a GANs, gravitational, magnetical, are constantly released and absorbed. So GANs affects directly and automatically every structure. So in so many ways, if we get our what I call good friends, Mr. Bill Gates, to become advocate of immunization, because he has not had his children affected by it. If he does, he would have never touched it this way, and put his resources in foundation in Holland in the better use to split the immunization in 3 different separate parts, with 3 separate timing, then we won't see fathers to suffer like him and me for years. This is the greed to make it cheap, because to bring a child back to be immunized 3 times, it costs more and it takes more time. So they mixed it, and this mixture is causing the problem. One of the indications when you get a child which is immunized, especially at the age of 2.5, 3, is to look for the fever or condition like asthma attack. Because these are indications of the change of the course of the body's operation. Because when you get an asthma attack the first time, which most of these children do, is like not being able to breathe, it forces the lung to change the absorption of the energy from the environment. And gasping for new energy type that can carry on with the life. So the child becomes asthmatic. The child shows all sorts of misconduct and misbehavior because of the conversion. So next time when Mr. Bill Gates pays for immunization enforcement like in India, the Indians are correct to stop him because they understood the crime he's committing. Unless the pharmaceutical create a buffer zone for release of zinc level gravitational magnetic field in the immunization systems, the process of the three materials together to be injected to children has to stop. A good friend of ours, Peter, in Belgium, has been taken and been sued to be psychologically demented because I explained to him and he understood long before the problem with this. And in Belgium, if you say this is wrong, you're crazy. They take you to a mental doctor, which is paid by the government to sign, yes, he's mental, and they put you in the mental institute. This is not a crime. It's the crime of our leaders who've been paid and the doctors to be in the position to say the rest are stupid and the bank accounts is bigger. Yes.
This morning, just one of my preparation asked me to ask you just this question: is good to be immunized or?
Yes, we need the immunization.
There are some problems, and they want to stop.
No, we need the immunization because it does good. The mixing of the three together for a young body of a child is too strong. In my time, in your time, we went for measles, we went for liver, we went for another one. We received, our parents have time to take us to the doctor in different time. They have come up with this mixture, and the mixture, due to its strength, is at the level which touches the emotion of the man, and especially young child. And the emotionality touches the physicality, which is movement, hyperactivity, to confirm the existence. They know. Pharmaceuticals know fully. Pardon? This is the position. The governments know too. The governments have to pay the bill of the doctor. You go 3 times or 9 times to get a full injection, or you get it in one go, boom. It's a lottery for a father to have a dyslexic child, to have a hyperactive child, or like him, to have a child which is in his position. It's a lottery made and paid and benefited by people like Bill Gates to show they are very kind. But if they knew, they understood the process, they would stop financing this immunization at this level with this injection. It's no other injection. It's just that the scientists have mixed this. The laboratories have mixed this without understanding the structure of the matter. When it enters the body of the man, it's in a Ganser state. So this is the problem. And then when our friend writes there that you can change, what about, would it affect the body? Yes, it does. And you see it. The man walks in with a problem. So I can help him because I know how, in matter of months, to have a normal child. Because we allow the emotional side to be positioned back through the body operation itself to normality. And then you get a normal child. It took Caroline years to be able to put our second child right. Because we never understood. Now we understand. The world of pharmaceutical has to respect the knowledge, not to stop the knowledge. FDA has to stop these injections. FDA is to protect people, not to enforce death and misery for life of children and parents. If you see his son, he is gorgeous. He's a beautiful, calm, serene child. Huh? But he continuously has to confirm his existence because they've taken it from him with the injection. Continuously, wherever he is, shouts, Papa, 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 Papa. I exist, attention seeking. Huh? And then that attention changes the form of abnormality and motion. Correct? The father is there, he understands, 100% you are correct. Because I was sitting in that seat 20 years ago. Yeah? And now you see my son, highly educated, master's, PhD, future, sharpshooter for British Army, and if he was, we couldn't sort him out, he would have been nowhere because he was a problem to society. He was a burden on the society if he could not be sorted. Now he's a teacher to youngsters and he guides them the same as I guide him. So when you show the container of the salt with the copper, with the iron, read what you do. When you have the iron and the copper in the water, you are dealing with the matter. Once you add salt to it to GANS it, you're dealing with the environment of plasma and the origin of the creation. So this is where the difference comes. Until the world of pharmaceutical and the doctors, and especially FDA, does not bring their head to understand that the inside of the body of a man, you deal with the plasma, and outside with the matter state, and then you mix the matter with the plasma, then the problem exists. The same is with the food industry. Health problems of today is because the food industry pushes material which unknowingly change condition in the process from the GANS to nano and back to matter GANS state. Understand how all of us are touched the same with our health, with the food industry process, which all of us psychologically pay for it in one way or another. Two things are common in the world of the health and food industry. You buy any tin food, you buy even ice cream, you buy anything today. There is a word called preservative. Preservative, to preserve the food. Look at the structure. Look in how you change iron, zinc, copper in the presence of a salt to a GANS of the material. Body of the man carries the water, body of the man carries the salt. And what do we do? What have we done in all the plasma technologies we've done? We chose originally NaOH to create nanomaterials. Further on, we used very low current on a plate in the water, salt water, to create nano layers. Now, in the body of a man, you have a very low current which comes from your neurosystem. You add salt continuously into the structure of the zinc, iron, and every other metal which is in a plasma condition. Then you change the structure of the materials which are added as preservative which enter the body of the man. So you use tin, you use lead, you use aluminium, you use any kind of even plastics. You already created a nano conditioned flow. So you do not eat matter as we are used to. We eat in GANs, which affects our emotion, affects our physicality. You go and buy an ice cream. Your life, you enjoy the ice cream. Ice cream is supposed to be sweet, but they put salt in it. They call it preservative, but the salt in the sugar, the sweet of ice cream, is one of the biggest God disasters ever created for a human body. Look what you have. Ice cream is protein, huh? It's fat. You add salt to it, you add CH to it, and by now all of you should know what is going on in your body. You create, you absorb energy in a liquid state. You have a fat which is sitting there. You have a salt which demands water, and God knows sugar. You have the water, you have the sugar for preservation and holding for energy, and you have a protein which is around it. My God, you become fatter and fatter and fatter and fatter, and you call it obesity. If the food industry takes the salt out of the condition, there would not be as such obesity. Because the salt in the condition which enters the body needs water to stay soluble. And the water needs containment, amino acid. This is why a lot of people go on diet, they lose weight, and tomorrow, 2 weeks later, they stop eating and they start putting the weight on. Because the only thing they do, they take the water out, so the thing collapses. And then when they eat, again, normal with everything else, they add the water in, so the balloon blows. So if you could take the whole structure back into normality, is understanding the use of additives as preservatives of salt, and the present free energy hydrogen plasma as what they call the coloring. Because all the colors today come from the derivation of coal, carbon. I have a man who there in the back shakes his head. So you add a carbon to the salt, to the sugar, and then what do you expect from a child which drinks it? Release of huge amount of hydrogen, plasma as a free energy. Child drinks, you got a super truck, jumbo jet in front of you. And then they say why children are hyperactive. Because this coloring is nothing wrong with it. But when color enters the body in a Ganser state, because now it's in a nano state, it releases, immediately interacts with the sugar which is given the color in the drink. C, carbon complies itself to another condition, releases huge amount of the plasma of a hydrogen, the child drinks, free energy. So they see hyperactivity. This is what, as parents, as part of the new science, we have to understand how we release energies in what condition, and for the world of science to treat the body of a man not in a matter state but in a simple plasma state. Then we don't have any of these problems. The thing is, the doctors, when they give the injection to the child, they don't stand and sit next to the child for a lifetime to see what it does. Then you tell them there is something wrong with the immunization. They say no, because the doctors get paid by the pharmaceuticals to see the method through. If they deny it, they have no income to buy their Rolls Royces and Mercedes. So the life of a child is cost of a house for the doctor and the pharmaceutical. There is nothing wrong with immunization, understanding the process of it. So we know, if you're people from Belgium, about Peter and his work in Ghent. They even put him into court to confirm he's mentally demented, because the guy who took him was paid by pharmaceutical heavily in a Swiss bank account, pretending to understand what he does, but he's a criminal, and he's in the same boat as Hans Brackenier and the rest. Read the court cases in Belgium about Peter, because Peter was supposed to be one of the directors of the Cash Foundation. I invited him because he understood the problem, but he ran into a problem with all these things which him and me were on the same boat, on the back boat of the criminal guys sitting and running the nation. I don't know what's happened to him in the recent past, but till about 2 years ago, because he understood this, they put him into psychological test that he is crazy, so he has to go into a mental institute. Because he could understand. Anybody who understands, is something wrong with them, because does not line up the bank accounts of the people who abuse. So, Peter Verrechte, I think his name is, his surname. Read in the Belgium news, you hear about him a lot. So, now, please, if you produce GANs, understand how you produce your nanomaterials, understand the structure of a nanomaterial in respect to the rest of what your body is made of, and then you decide how you want every single one of these not to interact, as we said in the teaching of today, in the SSI, plasmas do not get forced, but they create positioning. A, B, C, D, E or F. If you bring another E here, the rest have to move to create accommodate. And this accommodation of E could be not good for the brain, which has no copper in it. This may explain to you why, for example, lead causes damages to the brain structure, because when it comes in gravitational magnetic field, it produces different positioning which does not fit into operational fast transfer of energy. It creates a block. It changes the orientation of the cells from conductivity to resistivity. Health section of the Keshe Foundation is not just about the muscles and heart. We taught you about it, and now you have to understand what they are made of and how they interact in the emotion and physicality. As I said, we have called for 100 cancer cases from around the world in June. Chemotherapy only deals with the physical part, which is the tumor. But this tumor was created because of the condition of the emotion. For the first time in our systems, we touch both the physicality and what led to the creation of the physicality, which is the emotion. So this goes back to normality. To what extent we will understand is, as I say, the body of every man is different. So that's why we put your finger into the machine. Because your finger, while it's there, carries your blood circulation. It brings the total reading of the emotion and the physicality change. Then, when we use your blood in the system, which is connected to this speed in China, this speed here in Bari or Trani, the funny laws of Einstein, the funny thing, when one atom changes, so does the other one in the other part of the universe. But he could never understand it, he called it a funny thing. So when we put your blood in the right order, the blood in your finger changes the right order, and the rest of the cells in your body follow the change. So the change is instantaneous. Then we have to carry on with the change till RNA picks up the changes in DNA. The science of the health side of the Keshe Foundation is so deep that it frightens, as we say, the pop-up out of the present pharmaceutical, because there is no need for that. On the other hand, if you understood this, call this disease not a cancer. Call it MS. Because, again, MS is psychosomatic. Physicality of disability through the communication of copper in the physical side, because the person has an intentional problem with the mother, emotionally. What happens? Why ask yourself a question? Why people become MS? What are the consequences of MS? Paralysis, an ability to move and to protect yourself. And then go back, you are 50 years old with MS, disability and the cry for need to exist in incapability to do anything to protect yourself. When were you on this stage? When you were a baby, incapable to support yourself, relying on the mother. So, the intention of the mother, the abuse of the physicality in the young, stays in RNA, a trigger point in the later stages back to the same point that I exist, I need attention, and then the reversal of the process, MS. MS is a psychosomatic by delay of 40, but because there is such a huge gap in it, we don't connect it. The same goes with other diseases, Alzheimer's. Why? What does mean the word Alzheimer means? I forget not to remember because it doesn't suit me. It's not to my liking emotionally. So, you move a man, we have a case, from China into Canada. The guy lived all his life in China, a happy man. The family have become wealthy and they think it's good for the dad to come to Canada to live a wealthy life. But the man wants to be in China because all his friends all his life are in China. You bring him to Canada, beautiful car, beautiful house, a beautiful number of chickens that he can look after as he had in China. But you don't bring the friends, you don't bring the emotion, you don't bring the environment he was in. So he comes in China, he wants to forget about China. That's the only thing he can handle. So now you call him Alzheimer's. Because when you forget about your China, you forget about where you are too. Because now you have no identity. And the children spend a fortune. My dad has become Alzheimer's. Yes, take him back to China, he won't be Alzheimer's. And then, when he was here, now you have created a new problem. Because he's become Alzheimer's, you paid a lot of attention to him. Now he become attention deficiency on top of the Alzheimer's. So you take him back to China, he doesn't have Alzheimer's, but now he wants the attention, so he pretends to have Alzheimer's. So the multiplication, I have a case like this on my hand. The multiplication of problem comes from psychosomatic and what we create. You created a condition, you change the physicality, physicality change the emotion, emotion cannot be reversed. So, please, if and when you start using these materials, as I read, the guy wants to punish Mr. Kesh because he didn't deliver the space unit yet. I drink as much CO2 every day, so you can do what you like with yourself. It world needs idiots, because idiots show the correctness of the science. So if you like to be the idiot, please drink as much as you like. But understand what you are doing to yourself. So this is the problem. Understand the interaction of the plasmas in respect to each other in every direction before you do anything. Because each one affects the position in respect to the matter. As usual, I say our Chinese friends, every time we have them, they bring us a lot of gifts. And today's gift from China is fantastic. We learn so much from them. I have a lot of respect for Chinese. I've had for years because of the way they look at life and the way they run their life. But at the same time, I have a lot of respect for the Chinese leadership because the ethos of correctness runs within the structure of the nation, from the leadership down. And I understood that years ago when I came in interaction with them in Kazakhstan. That if you understand it, they're one of the geniuses of the world, and they have been, that's why we got the writing, the photocopying machine, the glass and everything else from them. It's a lot to be desired to be Chinese. So, please remember one simple principle with the GANs. Our little Chinese friend is here. This is Mr. Hoy's Chinese friend. When you put a GANs in liquid state or in a powder state in your body, even it looks to be in a matter state, still is in the moisture of the GANs of the water, which allows it to be separated. Don't get fooled by what you carry, because the power is so immense that it can change everything in your body. So the state of a GANs touches the emotion of the man. And if you touch the emotion, God help you if you can change it back again. Because to find the rise, the exact mass of the emotion is the job of God. And none of you have reached that stage yet, so please do not touch. You have copper oxide, you have CO2, you have CH3 in your reactors. The only problem which you don't understand, and one day I've tried to explain to all of you, is you have not become an expert yet, and we do not have the facilities yet to count that every single GANs in these structures is equal, and secondly, all the GANSes are not equal because they look like GANs. We have a beautiful saying in Farsi, if you understand it. It says, whoever has a mustache is not necessarily your uncle. Just because it's a GANs, it does not mean he has the same strength. Because a GANs of a copper, which is mined in Africa, and a GANs of copper, which is mined in the state of Hamadan in Iran, is not necessarily the same. Even though they are coppers. So in the process, we have to start, as we are doing developing systems, to measure the magrath of the plasma in totality. This affects us. Okay? Are you okay? You have to go. Thanks very much for coming. I appreciate you coming here. Bring the sun. Pardon?
He asked if possible to come tomorrow with the child.
With the child. Yes, please. This is your home. You're welcome. Thank you very much. So, what we understand is till we develop the technology that we can measure what comes in and what goes out, and what the difference is, and what your body can accept in coming in and going out, please, for your own sake, if you're a bachelor and you want to commit suicide, or you're a bachelor and you want to be a guinea pig, would you like to be one, Marco? No, he's with the intelligence because he knows what he does. Don't do these things till we do our work. Till the scientists of the new era of the plasma do their work, we can map it, we can dictate it, we can condition it, that all of us get benefited by it. It is important till we do not establish a full measurement of the interaction of all the plasmas of the universe, we have to be careful with everything we put in our mouth. Good morning. Table education is free. Bed and breakfast costs money. So, in so many ways, we have to use the present structure to be able to understand the process. And in so many ways, it is not the fault of our forefathers that never understood the true structure of the universe, because from the first time they opened their eyes, they saw nothing but the state of matter. And they got confused between the matter and the plasma. It is for us to guarantee that the future generation does not fall in the same pitfall and clearly understands the difference between the matter and the plasma, and how the interaction of the two can lead to condition as we wish. That is very simple. Any questions? No questions, the time is right. We got 15 minutes before we get invaded by the Spanish group.
I think
We get invaded by Spanish. They come in at 12 o'clock, at dead on time, and we start. And we finish at 6 o'clock straight, but they teach us a lot. Yes?
There's a couple of questions from the questions part of the webinar, but they may have already been answered with the last parts you've been describing. So I'll ask the questions. There's from Mike Nazif, and he goes on that my brother is wheelchair bound and completely dependent on others for his life. At age 3, he was diagnosed with a vitamin B deficiency, Down syndrome, and went from a normal child to wheelchair bound. What materials would I need to put into a cup of life in order to help him? He is now 22 years old. I know he understands our words and emotions. I can see it in his eyes. How can we release his body from his mind so they can work together again? I would love for him to be able to say thanks to his mom for all of her sacrifices. Thank you.
If the emotion part of his body has learned the word of thanks, he has already uttered it 1,000 times. You don't need the physical voice to confirm it, because he feels the mother, he feels the pain that she helps her, and both understand each other fully. But if for you physical confirmation is important, then you find a path to it. This is the problem with the man of physicality. We need that word of thank without knowing that the soul of the child has already attached and thanks the mother who gave the life to her. But on the other hand, if you want to make it physical, you have to study the whole structure of how changes in the motion of the physicality has taken place over time or at the time which has led to the position where he is now. You got to realize this has been one of the biggest problems for Keshe Foundation for years, because I cannot understand physicality as good as I understand the plasma. And one of the reasons for it is I don't want to understand plasmas, work with the matter, because there is a lot of problems in the interface of two plasmas, of a matter and physicality. Matter plasma creates and conditions the boundary as we see with the interaction of nanolayers. So matter has physical structure, where with fields we create a physical structure with the plasma. And when the man goes in the wheel, or when the man goes in a wheelchair or stops walking, then he creates a blockage in the physicality that in the emotional level, good morning.
Sorry for my name.
No problem, it's finished. It's time for a tea break. I hope you brought some coffee.
Okay.
Sit down, no problem. This is the house of God and knowledge is free for all men. You're welcome. This is the problem that we have to understand how the motion, transfer of information, and physicality has come to a halt or has chosen new position that has led your brother to be in this state. So you have to study the totality of it, and then we have to understand how physicality has come to this point. But the other point is the emotional part of your brother happy to be physically in motion and physically intact and in direction of the contraction with another physical bodies? He's in a wheelchair. Our computer is going. Would it be back tomorrow morning?
Should be back tomorrow fixed.
Tomorrow fixed. I hope the heart still works. So he wants to use the process for the grandparents who are suffering for dementia as well. If not, can we list the materials needed to accomplish a reversal or change the condition back to normal? Please, thank you. Would you like me to come and live with you for a few years? All this takes time. Dementia, or what we call Alzheimer's in different ways, is reversible because it needs a specific way of working to allow the communication lines within the structure of the brain to find a path of information. And it's quite possible you can change a lot of dementia, but it takes time with the present technology. It takes time. It takes a lot of time. I've done it a number of times. But the people who are brought back from dementia, the people who are brought back into health, the people who tried to help but we could not succeed because they didn't want to succeed and partially we didn't understand of it, according to the present world of science, is a criminal act. You ask the judge, are you going to be always healthy sitting behind that bench? Because sooner or later you have cancer and you come to criminals like us to save your meager life. And it'll be fantastic when I say, sorry, I can't help you. Because then you understand what you've done to yourself. As you know, I've said it before, but you understand. We have a volunteer on our list of volunteers who had a cancer, and he's top guys in national securities. And My case was in his hand, and then when he got cancer, he said, the only one who can help me is the guy who I'm watching. So he came to me to ask for his life. And then he brought his girlfriend, and then he brought his friend and the mother of the wife. Because people in a high level know what we do and how we make the difference. But it has to be correct, and it has to be on the condition that as we help, we do not become criminals. But in fact, we become part of the society to do the work totally as one structure in the space technology. So when you ask, can my mother or grandparents to become, to change their dimension? Oh yes, it can be done. It's fairly easy. I look for a specific way why they do not want to remember. One of the things for a lot of you who have friends or family who suffer from dementia or Alzheimer's is to ask them a simple question. Then you know 90% is reversible or not. And that is to ask them to sing you a song. Ask them if they can remember their wedding song. Or hymn a song and you see they shake to it because they know it. Because music is unconditional plasma which carries pleasure but no emotion of contact. We love a child, we love our son. There is an emotion attached to it. So it had an interaction of physicality. But songs don't do that. So if you can remember a music, a tune, a song of any type, this means that your memory bank is intact. You've decided not to release it. So dementia reversal is 100% possible. The thing is, do not ask them to remember the musician. Do not ask them to remember the singer. Do not ask them where you heard it from. Because then this brings condition of physicality of association. A lot of women, majority of the women, will remember their wedding song, even at their 90s. And they go, Then you know they are fooling you. They remember everything. You have to give them the pleasure that is worth remembering, and then they reverse Alzheimer. A lot of men will connect their freedom if they've been or be part of organization where they had identity, they existed. Find the rhythm of that society. Brotherhood, confirmation of existence. Do, 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 do. A lot of men enjoy the military time. If they have Alzheimer's, go back to the time when there was comradeship. It was beautiful time to share military marches of their time. And they sing it. So he said, I got you. You can remember the rest too. I help you. So if you have anybody with dementia, if you have anybody with Alzheimer's, ask them if they can remember the music or tune it for them. Or ask the husband, do you remember the wedding songs? Yeah, but I couldn't dance with it anymore. But he says, can you tune it? And then he sings it and she rocks. Then you know he's been so bad that she doesn't even want to remember him. So he's part of the problem. But you know he can open the Pandora box. I've had a few cases like this. Pardon? Possibly, but the thing is now you know aluminum is in a gaseous state, you can move it. Our Chinese friend today showed us the body of a man is in a gas, aluminum is in a gaseous state. You can ask, you can actually pick up the pieces of aluminum outside the skin of the man as a matter state if you want. I'll teach you this later on. You saw how he put a nano-coated material and a piece of metal in it with the hand, anything, he moved it. This is what we talked yesterday in the teachings. So now, how far you want to move this thing, to the skin or outside? In a space, particles enter your body like nothing. You don't keep on cutting it and take it out. You create the condition, the environment for them to move out themselves. We showed you, I explained to you how to make deuterium for power generation in a very simple way. There's no difference. You just change the size of the plasma. Hydrogen, gold, plutonium, it's all, you have to create the right condition. But you always remember, in the body of a man, you are in the environment of your Coca-Cola bottle in a gaseous state. Fields interact in the plasma state. So the metal in the body is in a plasma state. So it has magnetic gravitational field and interacts with the other ones. When our Chinese friend touches it with hand, it moves because now his field, his plasma of his body, the plasma of the wood is all interacting in a field interaction. And if you look at it, it's instantaneous, zero time. It's a zero time machine. Yeah? Back to the future in no time. Okay, we stop because I know our Spanish guys want to jump on. Is that okay with you, Rick? Ontario,
Sure.
Quebec.
Absolutely. We can invite the Spanish people into this webinar, and we can restart on a new live stream. Does that sound okay?
Shall we leave it to them and I can go home? Because they have their own sessions usually.
You could record a couple of sentences that we could interject somewhere there.
How do you say good afternoon? I keep on formulating. But buenos dias. And then at the end I say arrivederci.
There you go. We can just.
Okay, at least I was here. It's okay. Can you bring them out, please?
I think so.
Thank you.
Let's see what we can do here. Thank you. That was the end of the 30th Health Teaching Workshop. And it's Tuesday, May 12th. And now we're going to phase into the Spanish speaking knowledge seekers workshop. The 21st Spanish speaking knowledge seekers workshop. Okay, thank you everybody for attending. Vince, are you ready to end that one?
Yeah, I'm ending it right